Ever smell popcorn or hear onions sizzling and your mouth floods? In those first moments, your body is already making acid, enzymes, and even a dash of insulin before you take a bite. That early jumpstart has a name. It is the cephalic phase. Your brain sees food coming and your gut starts working on faith. You walk into a kitchen. You hear a pan hiss. Warm, savory air hits your nose. Your tongue gets shiny. That is not just a nice feeling. That is a signal. Inside, a starter pistol goes off. Stomach acid begins to rise. Your pancreas gets its tools ready. Even insulin gives a small hello within a few minutes. This whole head start is the cephalic phase. Sight, smell, taste, and even the thought of food can flip it on. It is your body betting ahead of time. No calories in yet, but the gears are already turning. 100 years ago, a scientist named Ivan Pavlov rang a bell for dogs and fed them. Later, he rang the bell without food. The dogs still drooled, and their stomachs still made juice. He even set things up so food never reached the stomach. The stomach still woke up on cue. He called it psychic secretion. Not magic, just the brain pressing the first button. Today, labs do a human version called sham-feeding. People chew and taste, but the food does not reach the stomach. Even then, acid rises fast. The first wave is real, before any bite lands. How does your brain guess a meal? Your eyes, nose, and ears file a report. Look, smell, sizzle. Your brain runs a quick forecast. Food incoming. Then it sends a go signal down a long nerve line from your head to your chest and belly. It is like a chef calling, "Prep now, doors open in 5. That phone line has a name. It is the vagus nerve, which just means the wandering nerve. It tells your organs, "Wake up, guests on the way." Little messenger sparks flip acid pumps on. Helpers carry the message along so it spreads fast. The same call nudges the pancreas to pull enzymes off the shelf. It tells the gallbladder to get bile moving so fats do not catch you off guard. You can picture it like an old switchboard. One glowing line splits into many. Stomach, pancreas, liver area. Click, click, click. Warm lights come on down the line. Each one means juice is moving and the system is live. Let's start at the mouth. At rest, your mouth drips a few drops a minute. With food cues, it can gush several times faster. That flood is not just water, it is slick lube that makes the first bite slide. It also brings a little enzyme called amylase. That is a starch starter. It makes bread and chips melt as you chew. That is the red carpet for the first bite. Your tongue shapes the food into a small ball. Your throat gets a smooth handoff. Swallowing becomes one clean move instead of a dry choke. Down in your stomach, acid is on standby. Before food even arrives, tasting and chewing can drop the stomach's pH within minutes. In plain words, it gets more sour fast. That first wave is not small. Many studies suggest about a quarter of your day's acid can be called up by head-only cues. That is your oven preheating, so the first bite gets seared, not steamed. You can sometimes feel it as warm, gentle bubbles under your ribs. It is not pain. It is the burner turning on. When the food shows up, proteins start to unfold right away. instead of waiting for the heat.
Next up, the tool shop.
Even before calories show up, enzymes for fats, proteins, and carbs start to trickle toward the gut. Classic tests show that this early push can reach roughly a fifth of the pancreas's top output. It is not full blast, but it is enough to handle the first bites. Bile readies too. That means fats break apart sooner and do not bog down the line. Here is the stealth move. Within 2 to 5 minutes of smelling, seeing, or tasting food, many people get a tiny insulin bump. It is only a small nudge on a lab chart, but it sends a clear note to your liver. Glucose is coming, stand by to store. That head start can smooth the first 15 to 20 minutes after you eat. It trims the early spike instead of chasing it late.
You know the movie theater effect?
You smell popcorn in the lobby and your mouth floods. In lab studies, that same kind of cue can also nudge insulin up, even before one kernel is eaten. Your body is not waiting. It is shaping the curve from the first whiff. Your body also learns the menu. Pair a flavor with real calories again and again. Later, that flavor alone can spark a tiny insulin rise. Your schedule trains you too. If breakfast is usually at 8, hunger hormone starts to climb beforehand, and saliva creeps up around 20 minutes before. It is a rising drum roll that peaks right on time.
But mismatch matters.
Sweet taste without calories can confuse the forecast. If the body keeps guessing wrong, the learned response may fade. The system updates its bet. It will not waste a start if the prize never shows. Sometimes the head start is muted. Stress and poor sleep can turn down that vagal phone line. The call gets fuzzy, saliva slows. Acid and that tiny insulin preview may shrink. In some metabolic conditions, that early insulin pulse is smaller or missing. The forecast loses its edge and the first minutes run rougher. History backs this wiring. Decades ago, surgeons sometimes cut the main stomach nerve to treat big ulcers. People with that cut had a blunted head start to tasting. Less acid rose to a sham meal. That is a stark clue. The phone line matters. Let's add numbers you can feel. In a day, you make about 1 to 1.5 liters of saliva and up to 2 liters of stomach acid. In minutes, food cues can call up a real share of both. With sham feeding, acid can reach about 1/3 to half of what a strong drug can force, and that is with 0 calories swallowed.
Think of a moving walkway at the airport.
Step onto it, and you leave sooner, with less effort. That is the cephalic phase. It is you stepping onto a moving belt before your meal lands, instead of starting from a dead stop when the plate hits. What flips the switch at the cell level? The vagus tells stomach cells to pump acid. It also nudges local helpers that boost the signal. In the pancreas, the same nerve line tells enzyme factories to get to work. You do not need the jargon to get the picture. It is one phone call, many hands moving. Your hunger drum, called ghrelin, also rises before meals. It often climbs by half or more in the hour before your usual eating time, then falls once food arrives. It makes you feel ready to eat. It also lines up with the other prep moves, so the whole system is in sync when the first bite lands.
A quick pause while we are here.
If you enjoy seeing how your body sets the stage, subscribe to Bodynaut. We make calm, clear tours of the action inside you without the gross out.
One more wild twist.
You can start digesting food that never arrives. Pavlov was right. Your brain will cue acid and even a small insulin pulse on sight and smell alone. That is great when the meal is real. It is wasted work when it is not. Your body keeps score, and it adjusts.
So how do you use this?
Let your senses do their job. Look at your food. Inhale the aroma. Take a calm first bite. This is not fluff. It is basic wiring. Give your brain a clean preview so the forecast matches the meal. Slowing down can mean a smoother landing for your blood sugar in those first minutes.
Distraction can cost you.
If you eat on autopilot, scrolled out and rushing, the head start may be softer. The system gets a fuzzy cue and misses the timing. You can still digest just fine. You just lost the rolling start that makes the first leg easier.
Remember the caveats.
That tiny insulin bump varies a lot from person to person. In some, it is clear. In others, it is tiny or not there. Sweet taste alone does not always trigger it. History and expectation matter. Still, when it hits, it is usually too small to cause a crash. It is a fine tune, not a sledgehammer. So the next time your mouth waters at a smell from the kitchen, picture the backstage. Saliva lines the runway. Acid warms. Enzymes slide forward. The liver gets a whisper to stand by. All of it from a whiff and a thought. Your body is betting on the near future, and most days, it wins that bet. If you like clear human body science like this, stick around Bodynaut. Subscribe and drop a like if this helped you see your own routine in a new way. There are more quiet miracles on the channel, from sleep onset to shivers. Enjoy your next slow first bite, and I will see you next time.